Mini Storage Messenger Self-Storage Webinar Series. I'm Poppy Behrens, co-publisher of Minico Publishing, and we're delighted to have you in the audience today. This is one of several informative webinars planned for self-storage owners, operators, managers, investors, developers, and other industry professionals. The focus of today's webinar is roof maintenance, repair, and restoration, keeping your storage units dry on a limited budget. The webinar is sponsored by DC Taylor Company, and our presenters are Bill Schenko and Mike Slenska. Bill is a regional manager for DC Taylor Company. He's been with the company since 2003, beginning as a laborer and working his way up to regional manager. He now specializes in identifying and solving roof problems for a variety of industries, most notably self-storage facilities. Bill has participated in several self-storage trade shows where he has made presentations on topics such as maximizing your budget with roof restoration and implementing energy-saving roof system solutions. Mike is also a regional manager for DC Taylor Company and has been in the roofing industry for over 26 years. His extensive technical background includes installing roofs, supervising crews, consulting with clients to help resolve roofing problems, and proposing cost-effective solutions. This year marks the 30th anniversary of Mini Storage Messenger, providing the self-storage industry with in-depth news and information. Each issue of Messenger offers cover stories and feature articles on the most timely industry topics and trends, with monthly columns contributed by industry experts and accomplished business professionals addressing a wide range of topics including security, facility operations, technology, legal issues, legislative updates, construction, and development. We also publish a variety of other self-storage data sources, such as the ones you see listed. And for more information on these, you can visit our website at ministoragemessenger.com. We invite you to submit questions throughout today's webinar. To do so, simply type your question in the question area and click Send. We will answer it either privately or to the entire group. While we will try to answer as many questions as we can during the Q&A period at the end of the webinar, those that can't be answered due to time constraints will be answered by email after the webinar. Just as a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and will be available for viewing on demand from our archives at ministoragemessenger.com. Today's presentation should run about 45 minutes, with the remainder of the hour open to questions and answers. And now it's my distinct pleasure to turn the presentation over to Bill. Good morning, Bill.
Wonderful. Well, good morning. Thank you, Poppy. Hope everyone's doing well out there today. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, our topic of today's discussion is going to be roof maintenance, repair, restoration. Our focus is going to be keeping storage units dry on a limited budget. Okay, again, myself, Bill Schenko, along with Mike Slenska, are going to be your co-hosts of this event. And what we're going to do is get you to start off by focusing on profitable business activities and spending less time dealing with roofing-related issues. This way you'll be able to spend more time with your customer activities, such as, selling your properties and so forth. We're going to spend more time on revenue-building opportunities and less time in problem-solving meetings. This is also going to allow you to spend more time on training your team members and less time, again, on paper files. Before we get started, just a simple question I like to ask is, how much time do you spend on roofing-related issues, and what does that time cost to you? Okay, first off, we're going to review metal roof systems. There's typically two types of metal roof systems that are involved in the self-storage industry that we encounter the most, and those are going to be a through-fasten metal roof system as well as a standing seam metal roof system. We're going to go over a few of the restoration applications as well as a preventative maintenance program and a roof management asset program to help you consolidate some of those needs. All right, metal roof systems, again, through-fastened and standing seam are the two that we're going to tie on the most. The first picture I have here, it's going to be more of a cartoon caricature of through-fastened roof insulation. To the naked eye, this is going to be the most common, what we see as we're walking. You're going to see fasteners pretty much evident throughout the building, typically 12 inches on center. This is in a real-world application and what it's going to look like to you. Okay. As you're down below, I understand most self-storage operators or self-storage managers aren't allowed on top of the buildings. Another way to identify this type of roof system is by this photo right here or image, you'll see that you have a couple areas that are crimped up, and you have some foam closures right here. And just for a note, a lot of times if you're running into leaks along your perimeter edge, or when you open your door, I should say, and there's going to be some water, there's a good chance, as you can see here, that some of the foam closures are shrunken. Okay, another identifiable way would be your foam closure just hanging like this. This is all to protect your inside assets from weather. Another word they call it is bird stops. Birds or critters tend to nest in these areas, sometimes even bees. So especially in the summertime, you're going to want to be careful. Some of the common issues you're going to run into with these type of roof systems are your fasteners backing roof leak. On these issues is going to be standing water, which in turn causes rusting. Okay, again, another identifiable way to find roof-related water issues. Okay. Looks like my slide was stuck there for a second. I do apologize. The second type of roof in the metal roof category is going to be a standing seam metal roof. And again, this is going to be more of a colorful picture to show you what the detail is. And then my next slide here is going to show you an image of the real-world application of a standing seam metal roof. As you can see here, it's a cleaner-looking roof. You don't see any type of fasteners penetrating the roof area, except maybe perhaps if you have a ridge or along your perimeter walls, or your perimeter edge, I should say. Okay. Some of the distinct metal system advantages is it's a very attractive life cycle cost. These roofs are extremely durable. They're excellent resistance to weathering. It doesn't matter if it's snow, rain, hail. The expected maintenance on these roofs are low. However, they tend to be lower on standing seam metal roofs versus the through fastened roofs, for the simple fact that you have more penetrations with fasteners going through your roof. Aesthetically, they're both pleasing, and you also have an option with an applied coating, which we will talk about here shortly, which will allow you to extend these panel lives. Not sure what happened here. I do apologize. It looks like we have a bit of a situation with our slides.
Hold on one moment. Rebecca is going to get us back to where we need to be. Somehow we advanced all the way to the end.
We do apologize. We'll get this fixed shortly. Is there anything I can do on my end to reset this?
Hold on one moment. I've got Rebecca on there now trying to go back to the slide where we need to be. Hold on just a moment. Rebecca, can you move us forward? All right, Bill, I think you should be able to move it from there.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Just go ahead and get to the next slide here. Okay, as we were discussing standing seam metal roofs and the aesthetically pleasing metal roof here. Okay. Some of the disadvantages of metal roof systems are the initial high cost of these type of roofs. When you're designing these applications, a positive slope is absolutely critical. You don't want to have any standing water over any length of period of time on these type of roofs. Your detailing, your flashing methods are absolutely critical. Gutters and downspouts, are an absolute must when you're having metal roofs. And these roofs are very difficult to modify. So once you have a plan in place, if you're going to decide to go with a standing seam or a metal through-fastened metal roof system, the choice is there for a long time. Quick question before we go further. Just ask yourself, what type of metal roof do you have on your facility? Through-fastened, standing seam, or perhaps in other situations, another type of roof? Okay. For metal roof restoration options, we're going to walk through some repairs. We're going to treat symptoms of through-fastened metal systems, addressing the side laps, end laps, and curb penetrations. I'm going to show you some photos of a recover or roof replacement with a single-ply recover, which will take some of your cold storage units and you could turn them into heating and cooling spaced areas. Single-ply recovers, coatings, some foam, as well as a few additional options we're not going to cover today. Is going to be metal recover or metal replacement. We can always cover that at a separate time. What you see here is a single-ply recover. Essentially what we're doing is taking the insulation and filling it between the flutes. The flutes are going to be the raised areas in between. Right here, as you can see, this gentleman's foot is right there. That's the flutes. We're going to put an insulation layer on the bottom, and then we're also going to add one on top to create that smooth monolithic surface. You are going to have various types of insulations that you can add, which will have an impact on your building's performance with your heating and your cooling. In the industry, it's known as R value. What's your insulation R value? So as you're dealing with your construction team, or your consultants, or your roofing contractors, talk to them about the different type of insulations that are out there and have them educate you. Okay, I'll take you through a quick CAD on what this looks like as it's being installed. And then we'll show you a picture of the overall. So the green is going to indicate your standing seam metal roof or your metal roof panel profile. What you do from there is you're going to add some wood nailers, or like a 2x4, 2x6 perhaps, on all the perimeter edges of the roof to build up the actual building height. And then you're going to add a secondary, like a 1/2 inch exterior grade plywood nailer to just get over that standing seam hump. So therefore you're going to create a monolithic surface. We're going to add in our insulation. Okay, and in this case it's going to be expanded polystyrene insulation, which in the outside world looks like a foam cooler. From there we're going to add a secondary layer of insulation, and in this case it'll be a hard wood fiber or a hard recovery board to create that smooth surface. And then from there we're going to build some of the edge metal detail. But first we're going to end up putting a pre-assembled insulation fastener down to keep the insulation in place. And then we're going to install, in this case, it's going to be a white thermoplastic membrane mechanically fastened to the purlins. The purlins are going to be like the cast iron underneath your roof system right here, which allows the building to move and then allow your roofing system to move, expand, and contract with the actual metal panels. And I'm going to just kind of go through these slides really quick because your edge metal, depending if you have fascia, gutters, whatever your exterior looks like, may all be a little bit different. So this just shows you all the different details that do go into effect when we're building a metal retrofit or a flute fill roof system. Okay? And at the end of the day, this is what it looks like. A clean, nice, in this case, a white, energy-efficient roof system. As you can see, your metal's not exposed at all. Okay? Some of the advantages of your single-ply recover system is, number one, you're eliminating all your existing metal roof problems. It's extremely lightweight, 2 to 3 pounds per square foot, depending on the type of insulation you use. You can add a significant R value while reducing your heat loads from your metal roof. If anyone's ever stood on a metal roof on a hot summer day, it tends to burn your feet or very hot to the touch. With your cool roof or the white roofing, you can put your hand on the actual roof surface and it is cool. You're also going to reduce your heat load from the metal roof, and now you have yourself a 20-year plus longevity roof system. Some of the disadvantages, initially it's not as durable as metal. Okay, it's very flexible, but it's not going to be as durable as metal. Very few things are in the roofing industry. Definitely it will cost more than some roof coatings, and you do have to have adequate support below. Make sure that the metal gauge isn't too thin where it's dangerous to walk on or you're rusting. Okay, roof coatings. Mike, would you like to discuss roof coatings?
Certainly, Bill. Thank you, and hello to everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about roof coating applications over the metal panel or other substrates. And in the industry, we basically have 4 products that we'd look to use on this type of application. One being acrylics, which are water-based, very available throughout the country, usually your least expensive option. Silicones, which are very efficient and chemical resistant. Urethanes, which are very durable and also chemical resistant. And then aluminum coatings, which are typically would be applied over a built-up roof application. Talk a little bit about acrylics. It's a single component, water-based product, in some cases solvent-based, but not as available anymore. It cures by evaporation, basically the water drying out of the product. Usually takes about 3 to 5 hours to cure in a warm temperature climate and 10 to 12 hours in cooler temperatures. It's the most economical of all coatings, being it is usually the lowest price point for this product. One thing you want to make sure that you don't ever do is that it's never applied whenever a freezing event can occur, because it actually will degrade the performance of the material. And one thing to consider about acrylics is they have what's called a high permeability rating, which means they breathe, which is good in many conditions, but is a detriment if you have ponding water conditions where actually the water will migrate through the product and cause delamination. Silicones are either a 1 or 2 component solvent-based product. Cures by the evaporation of the solvents. As you can see here, it cures much quicker than the acrylics and is used in many conditions where the weather is less accommodating. It does weather very well as far as the performance of the material. It tends to be a softer coating, and if we're looking to apply it over a sprayed polyurethane foam application, we usually recommend a granular aggregate embedded in the top coat to help with the surface durability. It is more expensive than acrylics, but it does have extremely good chemical resistance. The only time I would probably suggest silicone on a self-storage industry is if you have some kind of processing in your neighborhood where we might be getting chemical residual effects upon your roof. Urethanes are a single or 2 component solvent-based coating. Once again, cures by evaporation of the solvents, cures in 1 to 2 hours, is a very tough and durable coating. Does tend to be the most expensive as far as the cost for the product itself. Has excellent properties as far as retarding ponding water and the effects of that water. And there's a new hybrid that's come out recently in the past years called polyurea, and basically it is a urethane with aluminum-based pigmenting that typically can be applied in a one-step application, which may reduce some of your labor cost. The aluminum coatings are aluminum leaking pigments in an asphaltic base. Tends to dry in 4 to 6 hours. It does adhere very well to metal and built-up roof mastics. One thing that you need to be cognizant of with many of these aluminums is to make sure that it is something that will work well on your metal roof, just for the fact that typically aluminums have the least amount of flexibility, and a metal roof system can, in a sense, grow about 1.5 inches over the heating cycle of a day. In many cases, it's used on new roofs, especially built up or modified, but you do need to let that membrane weather before you apply it. And it can also be used as a rust inhibitor. This is a little cross-section of a coating application over a through-panel metal roof. As you can see here, we've got the horizontal lap that comes across that will need treatment. Fasteners that go through the metal panel get addressed with sealants. And then typically we always recommend the coating be applied in 2 applications. This allows for proper coverage and also making sure that you don't miss any areas. If you get, put white over white, you could get sunblind and actually put less coating that's required. This is an image of coating application over a sprayed polyurethane foam on an R-panel roof. Typically, your coatings can be either roller applied or spray applied. Typically, for industrial applications, you're looking at spray applying it. And one thing you always have to be aware of is if you are coating on a metal roof, to make sure that you come in different directions so you get both sides of the raised portion of the panel so you get that proper coverage rate. The advantages to coatings is that you can derive white or light colored products. This will reduce the heat gain upon the structure. That reflectivity will allow for lower energy requirements to cool the building. On a single ply or a built-up roof, it actually slows the aging process of the membrane and protects the membranes and foam from ultraviolet damage. On a metal roof system, it will prevent corrosion of the metal roof panels, and it's used as a waterproofing sealer on some types of roofs and substrates, this mainly being the metal. And one of the big things that this application can do is it will reduce the expansion and contraction, or what's termed thermal shock, and that's the movement of the installed roof system. Once again, a metal panel roof can basically grow about 1.5 inches per day on the long sides of the panels, and we do get expansion and contraction also on all other forms of roofing also. Some disadvantages when considering coatings is that all coatings are not created equal. And what you really need to make sure you do there is some homework, verifying the performance of that product on the roof system that you're looking to apply it to, and then also identifying some of the characteristics of the product when it comes to solids by content and the types of resins that are used, just for the fact that you can get coatings that are more water than substance, and conversely, use your better coatings and more substance than water. I can't stress too highly that preparation is critical to the success. And the concept there is just as you wouldn't go out and start painting your house if it was wet or dirty, you need to make sure that you have proper surface preparation before any coatings are ever applied. To some degree, they are highly dependent upon the applicator's skill. And if you're working with a contractor, don't be shy to ask him what his experience is. And if he's providing you a system warranty through a manufacturer, there might be some criteria that they need to meet through the manufacturer on a number of years applying this type of system. It can be more susceptible to damage in high traffic areas. That's usually more the acrylics and probably over a polyurethane foam substrate. Must never be applied over a wet or damp surface, otherwise you're marginalizing your adhesion values. Must not be applied when wind is in excess of 15 miles an hour. That's mainly more for if you want to mitigate any overspray or problems with vehicles in the area. Must not be applied if ambient temperatures is less than 40 degrees if it is a water-based product. That's mainly the acrylics. And most are susceptible to ponding water in that regards that they'll actually withstand the ponding water conditions. In some cases with acrylics you can get that situation where ponding water will make the product delaminate in time. This is just an image of a coating process that's in progress. The blue areas are complete. The whiter areas to your left are still in the process of being applied. Talk a little bit about polyurethane foam, which is used in conjunction with a roof coating, but actually, much as in the single-ply retrofit, does basically provide you a new roof system. Polyurethane foam is a spray-applied liquid mixture. There's two chemicals that basically are mixed together and react, expand 20 to 30 times its liquid volume. And it's much like mixing an epoxy. You definitely want to make sure you get a 1-to-1 ratio of those products. It forms a hardened cellular mass and becomes a lightweight solid insulation. There are different densities of foam products, and if you're looking to consider this type of application, once again, make sure that your construction team, consultant, or contractor is applying the right density foam for your application. One thing that's always recommended on a metal roof system, especially a through fasten, is you want a minimum thickness of 1.5 inches of foam to have a successful project. Otherwise, if there's foot traffic upon the structure, it can crack and cause a premature failure. This is a little cross-section of a foam application, just showing, in this case, a concrete deck as a substrate. You can just kind of figure that might be a metal panel. The yellow product is a insulating, waterproofing, sprayed polyurethane foam material. And then there's various coatings that would be applied, and in some cases aggregate to help for durability and hail resistance. Little image of actual coating being applied, in this case hand casting granules into the product. In most cases on an industrial application, you're going to actually have equipment that will spray these granules in, which will increase your production time. The product behind the gentleman that you see that's more yellow, that is new foam that's been applied that has not been coated as of yet. And you can see that he's spraying a white product over a gray to get that proper application ready. Image of a completed foam roof over a R-panel application. And one thing that you will see with a foam system is a phenomena called telegraphing. And that is obviously that when you have raised elements on your roof panel, you're going to be able to see that through the foam. It's not going to provide you quite the smooth surface that we saw with the single-ply retrofit application, but definitely a viable consideration. Some of the advantages of polyurethane foam is its excellent insulating capacities. It provides an insulation R value of R6 per inch applied. It's very lightweight once again. Adds only about a ½ pound per inch thickness per 100 square foot of surface area. It does provide a monolithic component where you do not have any laps or seams like any other form of roofing. It's very adaptable to building types and dynamic structures. And when you do design your system properly, it will provide you a Class A fire rating. Over a metal substrate, you'll always derive that. If you're over a wood substrate, there are some steps that you need to make sure that you take. Some other advantages is a very simple flashing technique. It's literally spray applied, so you're not having additional labor steps for the perimeter and curb and penetration flashings. It is renewable with a future coating application. Typically, we find that a recoat cost is approximately 1/3 the initial cost of a foam roof application. The coatings are available in a variety of colors. The one thing that we do highly recommend is you use the lighter colors that are available and possible. The reason for this is it has been found that darker acrylic coating specifically can have a premature aging of the resin due to the heat gain upon a dark color, so please be careful there. It can be used on most deck types or stable substrates. I mean, foam can be applied over single-ply roofs, over metal roofs, over built-up, when properly paired over B-decking. So it is a very complementary roof system depending on what you're working over. And one of the big benefits is that you can actually fill low spots or create crickets or slope with the foam application that will minimize any ponding water conditions that you currently have. Some other advantages is it's more susceptible, or disadvantages, is it is potentially more susceptible to damage in high traffic areas. With the aggregates or using more durable coatings such as urethanes, you can mitigate this concern. The foam is probably the most dependent on applicator skill, being that it is a liquid that's spray applied that then converts to a solid. So really making sure that your contractor knows what he's doing is of high importance. And once again, you don't want to apply it when the wind is in excess of 15 miles an hour, because you can actually get rougher surface texture, which will require more coatings to properly protect it. Over any wet or damp surface or in high humidity, you always want to make sure that you're within the dew point range. And you never want to apply the foam in less than 1/4 inch passes. And industry typically recommends not less than 1/2 inch passes. It is a environmentally sensitive product, so once again we have to apply it if the ambient temperature is less than 50 degrees. That's not suitable for foam applications. And the base coating must be applied within a 48 to 72 hour window to make sure that we have as little degradation of UV exposure on the foam itself. And Bill, I'm going to talk a little bit about extending the roof life.
Okay.
Okay. And basically, another poll question is, how often do you have your roofs inspected? And I know in some cases, if you're a manager, they'll mention that you may not be allowed to get up onto your structures, but you can either work with your ownership team or possibly a contractor or consultant to perform inspections. And, what is the right number of inspections, monthly, yearly, or I don't inspect my roof at all? Well, answer 3 is not correct, but really you need to inspect your roof probably twice a year, and after any major weather event, be it snow, wind, heavy rains, just to make sure that everything's in good shape. And if you have a knowledgeable party perform the inspection, then you're assured that you'll get the best information out of that. A quick overview, and what we think about when we're trying to extend roof life is, performing preventative maintenance. Just as you may have bought a brand new center with a brand new roof, but you're not going to drive your car for 100,000 miles and never change your oil and tires, so you have to go in and perform maintenance periodically. And part of that inspection process will, prompt you when this maintenance is required. There are tools that are available, roof asset management tools, that will help you keep track of your warranties and repairs and provide budgets for roof replacement going further. And then, of course, there are hidden costs such as damage of contents, loss of clientele due to problems, and even your time spent when a problem comes up. And we're going to talk a little bit about, why considering a preventive maintenance program will actually save you time and money. I mean, first off, it will reduce your expenses. I mean, it's always the oxymoron that spending money saves you money, but in this case, it's been proven that if you properly maintain and inspect your roof, it will provide a longer service life and basically reduce your time spent dealing with problems. We're going to take a look at a few examples. We're looking at a situation here on a cap sheet built up roof, and we've got a parapet wall. That's the raised structure here to your left. And it appears that the roof is draining well, but due to the proximity of this foliage, you basically have a situation where you're reducing your water flow by the nature of the debris settling there. If there are drains or scuppers in that area, areas where water can evacuate off the roof, these could be getting clogged. And that's a good reason to perform good roof maintenance, and that'll help protect your assets. Once again, we've got a through-fastened roof system here. A lot of debris is collected upon it. One big problem here is that even though you have positive slope in the building, this debris will basically retard water flow off the structure, will stay moist, can potentially cause rust in your roof panels over time, And probably the most important thing I'm seeing here is that when we look at these kind of other colored situations in the roof, these are what's called a panel skylight, where the skylight is incorporated right into the roof panel. If you were to walk in this area, just hope that there's not a skylight in that area, because you may not know it's there, and then there could be a safety risk. Here we have just a built-up of granules or aggregate that's collecting in the valley line. You can kind of see where this has been scuffed up. This appears to be several inches deep. Once again, potentially can clog up drains and scuppers, and more so than anything, reduces water flow, which basically creates additional stress upon the membrane itself. Here's a coating that's failed due to ponding water. This is an aluminum coating over a built-up roof, but these dark spots you're seeing here is where water has ponded, and the coating has literally worn off at a quicker rate, exposing the built-up roof felts to the UV, and once again that degradation is going on. Old or unused equipment should be removed from the roof. I mean, if you're doing any kind of modification to the building or you're doing maintenance, make sure the people put all the parts back. One thing we seem to see time and time again, especially on buildings that have HVAC equipment, is compressors and other tanks for Freon that are just left on the roof by other trades. Make sure that whoever does your service basically puts everything back in place before they depart. And sometimes it's not a bad consideration to maybe have a check sheet or a roof access sheet in the office so no one can get on the building before they check in and check out. That way, if something like this happens, you know who to go to and ask them for, get back out here and take care of things. Just showing a flashing transition of a built-up roof to a CMU block wall. Kind of see where water's been ponding there. It must not be a very good drainage consideration. And being that there's nothing counter-flashing the roof system, there's always a chance of moisture getting in behind the flashing. This is a typical turbine vent. You can kind of see where the pencil's located, that the mastic seal is cracked. One thing on a built-up roof is that it will require some additional maintenance and inspection to make sure that those kind of penetration seals are sealed, and basically the mastic will dry out. So it is a maintenance issue. We've got a caulk joint failure here on a expansion joint coping metal. Just need to make sure that these are sealed well, and there's probably products on the market now, some polyester reinforced tapes, that would be a better consideration than just caulking it for the expansion contraction issues. Missing condensation lines, just HVAC units that are leaking water upon the roof. The roof should be able to withstand the water, but by the same token, it will potentially cause a leak sooner than necessary, and in some cases on a metal roof could actually cause metal fatigue. In this case, we got a polyurethane foam roof where there's some small blisters that have opened up. Typically with a foam application, this should not cause you a leak, but obviously you want to get it repaired properly. Any exposed foam material to the ultraviolet rays of the sun will degrade and cause you a problem at some point. In our industry, this is something that we battle all the time, which is a component called a pitch pan. That's this metal pocket. It's flashed into the roof properly, it looks, but there is just a plastic roof cement that's been applied within the pocket. This material tends to fail quicker than most. There are products on the market, either chem curbs or M curbs, that you use a one-part urethane sealant in. That'll probably be a better consideration. Anything that's not a roof, anything that goes vertical, is termed a flashing. So in this case, we've got what's called a fish mouth here in the base flashing. Up here, you probably would be a wind-driven situation to create any water entry, but when you're down here at the base of the base flashing, that is a very high potential for a leak. this case, we have ductwork. Roof leaks aren't always roof leaks, and sometimes you have to look above and beyond the roof for other components that could possibly cause a problem. In this case, we've got a joint on the ductwork that is not properly sealed, and water is coming in through that location. Here's something we see quite often where people have come in and replaced metal panels, and if they've got the right configuration panel, you're in good shape, but sometimes metal panels change, companies go out of business. Really need to make sure that whatever products are used nest with your panel as best as possible. And kind of an interesting scenario here. It looks like these two panels were probably replaced around the same time, but one has extensive surface rust going on. These are some images of fasteners through fastened metal roof. And even though this metal panel is intact and not having a problem, we can get water intrusion right around the fastener heads. And so in some cases, applying a sealant or replacing the fasteners with a new fastener with a neoprene washer will take care of those kind of leaks. In this case, we're showing an image of some plastic roof cement on a fastener head, which may fix your leak today, but will be a maintenance issue tomorrow. And we also have an internal gutter here, which looks to have quite a bit of sediment in it. These historically are a big problem. Really need to make sure that they're cleaned out well and that your laps within the gutter itself are sealed properly. And Bill, you want me to go ahead and send it back to you?
That sounds good, Mike. I appreciate it. Great job. We have about 5 minutes. We'll go ahead and cover the last part here, and then from there we'll go ahead and open it up to some question and answers. We're going to talk a little bit about everyone's favorite subject, which would be money. Essentially, like we talked about in the beginning of the program, is trying to help save you money by putting together a roof asset management program. Okay? What is a roof asset management program? Essentially, it's a comprehensive database. You can have it hard copy. You can keep it electronic of roofing information that helps you. It's going to help you ultimately reduce your roof life cycle costs. It's going to help you reduce costly emergency repairs and missed warranty repairs by identifying ahead of time what some of these issues are. And it's going to allow you to make better roofing decisions by knowing what the problems are. Along those lines, it's going to also assist you in retaining your knowledge of the conditions, the activities, and then budgets when employees leave and transfer. I know from experience working in the self-storage industry, certain people are they're bouncing between 2, 3, 4 different locations, and person 1 may not be as familiar as person 2 on that facility. So this is a really good tool to have on site or available via online, so this way you can track those issues. Quick question is, how many folks here out there do you guys have a roof asset management program in place? Okay, this book here is called Roofing Solutions, and the next few pages is a graph. And what this graph is going to do is going to walk you through how roof maintenance program can actually save you money. A quick example here is going to be a 100,000 square foot roof. Okay, this was built in year 1, $250,000. Okay, on the left here we're going to have reactive. On the right is going to be proactive. Okay, on the reactive side, we're not going to touch this roof for the next 12 years, out of sight, out of mind. However, from a proactive standpoint, we're going to do our biannual inspections, like Mike said, twice a year or after a major storm. In some cases, if it's not a metal roof, and let's say you do have aggregate or built up with insulation, you're going to want to perform an infrared scan. And this is going to help you identify the wet areas or moist areas in the roofing insulation. Along with that, you'll schedule some repairs. Okay? So now we have a better understanding of what our roof is doing, how our roof is performing. Years 12 and 13, my reactive approach where I didn't even look at my roof, now, you know what? I've got to get a new one. Okay? And then from that point on, for the next 15 years, I'm not even going to pay any more attention to it. However, if I continue to my proactive maintenance approach with my roof inspections, my regular maintenance, perhaps maybe another infrared scan, it'll allow us to now look at a roof restoration or a coating. Okay? We've helped maintain and kept it kept this roof in a good life cycle, and we're going to continue to do that. Okay? The next slide here, what you're going to see is an overall approach over 25 years. If you take an out-of-sight, out-of-mind approach, you're going to spend almost $175,000 more than if you took care of your roofs year after year after year. Okay? So essentially over a 25 period, I mean, it's almost going to cost you 7 cents per square foot, and that's not even including hidden costs. Again, over a 25-year period, you're looking at $170,000. I don't know about you, but I know I could do a lot with $170,000. And then not to mention, these are some costs that may not even come out of your bottom line. You're looking at emergency repairs. You potentially can lose your manufacturer's warranty if you don't have the proper maintenance done to your roof. You have damage to finished goods, damage to your walls and floors, electrical, your insurance rates go up, and now you've got more cleanup. I know, folks, when we all go around taking a look at other storage properties, these are all things that we're looking for. Some more hidden costs, you lost the tenant space. I mean, that's just money we're throwing away. We also have legal and insurance claims for when somebody's products get damaged. You may have a customer slip and fall. Not to mention, you know, environmental issues. I mean, with the air quality, mold and mildew. We all know about the food product safety. And I think one thing more than anything else, our time. Those are all going to be hidden costs associated to this. So as I'm walking around, I'm just going to go through these slides really quick. You know, insurance claims, lost tenant. I mean, hopefully this is nobody's office that's out there, but this is definitely real world of roofing outside, out of mind. So essentially what we're trying to do is help you make better decisions when it comes to your roofing. Establishing or having access to an organized data to simplify your complex roofing decisions. It's going to help you prioritize your repairs or help you budget for replacements. We're also going to put together roof plans with detailed condition reports. And that's a great idea because you guys have a lot of different properties out there. Some people are responsible for 50, 100 properties, and you may never really get an opportunity to set foot on it. But if you have some photos, some documents that's going to allow you to have these roof plans detailed, it's only going to help you in the long term for your roof project budgeting. You know, not to mention your warranty tracking. Okay. By having a roof management plan, it's also going to help you improve your record keeping. Like Mike touched on earlier, you're going to allow yourself to keep track of the work activity on your roof, the time and date stamped. Who was on my roof? When were they on my roof? What did they do up there? Having before and after photos is key, especially, you know, a lot of us, I don't expect you to know everything about roofing, but from a photo, we'll have a good idea if it's done right or what the problem areas may be. You can coincide those photos by identifying the problem areas on your roof drawings, like a little treasure map. This way it's going to enhance your accountability. You're going to be able to associate these problems, and now you'll have solutions identified, and then this way you can create a budget and then help your superiors buy in and approve these budgets for these maintenance issues. This may be a little small to see, but this is just a quick walkthrough of if you have multiple roof areas and so forth. It just takes you through some photos and, hey, my condition. What's my current condition? I mean, am I in good shape? Do I need to take care of some additional needs? Please help me. And here's a beautiful drawing or a treasure map for you. And anybody can follow along with this. You know, by taking a look at a basic scan like this, you'll have a good idea where you're at and where my issues are at. So this way, if you transfer sites, somebody else can look at it and no information will be lost. So at the end of the day, we hope Mike and I are going to be able to help you focus on your profitable business activities, spending more time with your customers and less time dealing with vendors like us. Thank you. Okay, Poppy, anything to add?
Absolutely. We have questions that have been coming in. I would like to add that if you are going to be at the SSA trade show in Dallas, you will be able to visit DC Taylor at their booth at that time. And if we can back up Rebecca one more time so that everybody can get the booth number. And if you have any questions, if you can back up one more time, Rebecca. We have all of the contact information for Bill and Mike and the website where you can get some more information on roofing. Right now we'll move to questions. One of the first questions that came in, and I believe this was in regard to the coating process, is this the same process for portable storage containers?
Want me to take that one, Bill?
Sure, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I would anticipate, I'm not exactly certain what they're talking about on the portable storage container, but basically roof coatings will be applied over a variety of substrates and of any size structure. If indeed that this portable storage container has a single ply or built up or metal roof system upon it, that coatings can extend the roof cycle life, and maybe a consideration if they want to get a better answer, we might need to actually get a picture of what they're discussing so that we can provide a stronger recommendation. But coatings can be applied over most any surface and provide great performance.
Okay, great. Next question, why are gutters a must on metal roofs?
You want to take that one, Mike, or you want me to run with it?
I think you probably see more gutters in your neighborhood.
Okay, right. Gutters out, you know, I see these a lot in the Midwest. And a lot of times what will happen is you'll have your water runoff, especially if your roof system is going to be pitched. And then a lot of times the water will end up wicking back into the actual roof system. Sometimes you'll also see water discharge off your roof, and then it'll start creating additional issues in the foundation of the building. Between where the blacktop is, damaging your blacktop areas, as well as the crevices or the transition where your blacktop and your roofing meet, creating additional issues, anything from ponding to breaking down the concrete walls to damaging your doors to damaging the concrete. So if you're able to take the water and help control where it goes into proper discharge areas like a sewer or a drain, it definitely helps the overall condition of not only your roof but your property as well.
All right, next question is, when it comes to the coating stage, could you just put a metal roof layer back over everything at that point?
Want me to grab that one, Bill?
Sure, Mike.
Well, basically what will need to be considered there is that you probably would have to have an engineer look at the original as-built plans and calculate some dead load weight for the structure. If you're looking at a metal over metal retrofit, the biggest thing you want to make sure is that the structure can handle the additional dead load weight. And there are methods of installing a metal over metal that may have a little purlin installed with it, which can actually help create a little additional slope if that's something that's desired. But you can go with a metal over metal if that's the situation, but usually that would only be done when the existing panel is corroded to a point where it can't accept a coating. We'd probably offer that a coating would be a much less expensive way initially and provide a longer life cycle on your original panel, holding off the metal replacement when needed.
Okay. Next question is, what life cycle should I expect from a coating application on a metal roof?
Okay, I could take that.
Okay.
Okay.
What usually is the biggest consideration there is the quality of the coating and the gallons per 100 square foot application rate and the surface preparation. So I know those are three things to consider, but if good surface preparation is performed, if you're using a higher quality coating and you're applying it in the range of 3.5 to maybe 4.5 gallons per 100 square feet, you should be able to attain, at a minimum, a material warranty through a manufacturer and up to a system warranty for labor and materials. And we're finding that, you know, a coating system properly applied will probably provide you up to about a 10 to 15-year life cycle.
Okay, next question. What is the best way to spot fix a dripping through metal roof? Silicone, caulking, or what?
Okay, when you say metal roof, in this situation, it almost sounds like it would be a through-fastened metal roof. One option would be removing and replacing your loose or missing fasteners with like an oversized fat boy or oversized tech screw, making sure it's nice and snug. That's a good way. Keep in mind, if you use silicones, the only thing after the fact, the only thing that sticks to silicone is silicone. So you may want to try to stay away from that. One thing that I found here in the Midwest, speaking from experience out here in the Midwest, is like an elastomeric or a flexible type sealant. We tend to stay away from like blackjack or the asphalt that you could buy at Home Depot because those tend to dry out extremely fast, like Mike touched on earlier in the presentation. You know, you could fix it today, but tomorrow you'll end up having another problem. So to answer your question, a flexible sealant like an elastomeric, and or even establishing like a butyl tape over it and sandwiching that tape in between the elastomeric coating to protect the butyl tape as well so it doesn't dry out.
Okay, next
question. One thing to chime in.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
One thing just to chime in that Bill touched on is if you do put silicone on your fastener heads and then you choose to do a coating restoration going forward, you're actually going to cost yourself more money because you will have to physically remove all those products in advance of any coating application other than a silicone. So that it usually is better to use an elastomeric or a one-part urethane product, and that way it's complementary to a coating system going forward.
Okay, next question. I recently applied a roof coating on the metal roof system at my facility. When it is cool and moist outside, why is it raining inside my storage buildings?
If I can take that one, Bill.
Sure.
One phenomena that does occur when you have a unconditioned or a non-conditioned space and you put a white reflective coating on there is that if you're in an environment that's going to get cooler temperatures and higher humidity, you'll actually create a dew point within the structure. So if a contractor is looking to suggest a coating application and you're in this environmental area of the country that you can potentially have cool temperatures and high humidity, you probably need to either reconsider a coating and go with some kind of a new single-ply retrofit or sprayed polyurethane foam, or if you are going to coat it, you don't want to use as light of a coating product. You want to use something that will gain some heat upon the surface so that you don't create this dew point below the metal panel itself.
Okay, next question is, can I use plastic roof cement when performing a repair on a metal roof system?
Well, we'd be the first to tell you if you're in a critical condition and you need to stop a leak, use what you have to use. Conversely, plastic roof cement on a metal panel is a short-term fix and will need to be removed in advance of any proper repair. And what tends to happen with asphalt mastics is that the sun does dry out the oils, they become brittle, and there's no flexibility within them whatsoever. So when we get this dynamic movement in the metal panel, they fail quicker than anything else. So a short-term pinch, fine. Long-term solution, bad.
All right, great, Mike. We have time for one more question. How can I properly add and flash roof penetrations to a metal panel roof system?
And that's always a very difficult consideration. Bill spoke about the complexity of altering a metal panel roof. And there are products on the market, a couple different manufacturers, but they're a neoprene rubber boot that has a lead base or a metal base that you would subseal, mechanically stitch down to the panel and then treat the perimeter. And this is a great way to handle roof penetrations, and they manufacture these deck-type boots in both a slip-over penetration, like for a soil stack, or what they call a retro boot that has almost like a zipper on the side so that it can go around a pre-existing conduit or gas line where you cannot slide a typical boot over it.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much for answering those questions. If you've submitted questions that have not been answered, we will answer them privately after the webinar. And we'd like to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. We hope that we provided some useful information to you that will assist you with your investment or your development endeavors. You will receive an email shortly with a link to the archived presentation, so make sure that you watch your inbox for this email. And we ask you to check our website at ministoragemessenger.com for a list of all of our upcoming webinars that we currently have scheduled. Thank you again for attending, and have a wonderful rest of the day.